Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
You are watching a Fact TV presentation of the Village of Saxtons River Trustees meeting.
I'm showing 7 p.m. So let's call the meeting to order. This is the Village of Saxtons River. Amy Howlett presiding. The date is June 5th, 2023, and it is 7 p.m. This meeting is happening by remote location only, and several people have contacted me for information, plus it's posted on the website, and Carl is happy to add anyone who's interested in getting the agenda and minutes to our email distribution list. So the meeting has been called to order. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? It's a lengthy agenda, and I am going to add an update under the committee updates to 37 Main Street, the municipal planning grant that we got. Sorry about that, Carl, but it came up very suddenly this week and I wanted to add it. Public comment. We do have some members of the public present for your notes. Carl Constance Lancaster and Margaret Dougal are both on this call. And Inessa, who's our treasurer, of course. Margaret,
and I have a comment.
Do you want to comment now, or would you like to wait until we talk about sewer issues?
I have a comment very quick.
Oh, Inessa, I'm sorry, I didn't understand who was talking. Go ahead, Inessa, comment.
This is the follow-up from last May meeting we had, and Alex Barrett brought it up an issue about the Main Street traffic control and speeding. So I did some research and asked the transportation planner. So they recommended that Route 121 is a town road and not a state highway. So if we want to address this in any kind of way, the speed control, we would have to talk to Rockingham Select Board, town manager. There's Gary also we can approach. And also was recommended to talk to this committee called Walk/Bike Committee. Mm-hmm. So I have contacts, a couple of people who sort of talk about this kind of issues for the Rockingham. So that's the research that I've done.
Okay.
Inessa, could I ask you to repeat who is the source of your information?
Would be Town of Rockingham Select Board.
No, the source. Who did you talk to? Who suggested?
It's planning transportation planner at Windham Regional Commission.
Okay.
And do you have a name?
I'm surprised to hear that 121 is not a state highway because it's marked as such and not as a town road.
It is marked as a number of the state, but it is not a state road like Route 5. So if we need more information, I talk to planners at my work. So that's where it's coming from. There's a whole story that the state numbered the roads. It's a road to get to Cambridgeport, for example, right? But it is not a state road. It's maintained by town of Rockingham.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That surprises me.
Yeah, I've learned that today as well.
Huh.
Further public comments? I'll just add what I've been seeing on Facebook, which is great happiness over the flowers on Centennial Bridge.
Yeah.
So that is not a trustee project, but it's great to see people coming together and really appreciating the town. So if you haven't driven by or walked by inch, make an excuse to do that. They're really pretty.
Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm.
Okay. hearing no further public comment, we are on to sewer issues. And I had hoped that we would have Rob Wheeler or Josh Kemp here, but we don't. So let's begin. Margaret, do you want to start off?
Sure. It's tomorrow. It'll be one month that we've had sewer problems. We've had our plumbing company come at least 3 times on the Mother's Day weekend and the following other weekends as well. We happen to have one contact in New Hampshire, a plumber, and he identified the pipe that we have a collapsed sewer pipe coming from the foundation out 10, 12 feet from the from our yard into our yard. At this point, this young plumber, his name was Andrew Royce. I have to give him credit because he explained to me how these pipes were installed back then when Saxtons River went from septic to sewer. And it's called the Orangeburg pipe. It was a pipe that they didn't use cast iron. They used a composite of wood, cement, and other materials. And I understand the state found out that in the 90s, if this was installed in the 70s, in the 90s, there was a recall. And so they're now, after several decades, they are beginning to fail. And I did contact Rob Wheeler, I think it was last Thursday, Friday, and he sent me a map. He emailed me a map, and he kind of was dimensions of on Clark Court where I live, you know what I'm saying, the houses there, what the distance is to the sewer. I want to just backtrack a little bit. This young man that came on Thursday morning from New Hampshire, he had the best camera ever. He went out supposedly 100 feet, so everything is clear down to the street. So it was just, an interesting fact. The problem that we're having now is just finding someone that will come and replace the pipe. What they're all saying, we have a couple of fellows and they're saying, well, this is their busy time and they're going to try and squeeze it in, get us in as quickly as possible. But we are able to, shower, laundry, and take baths and stuff like that. But it's not 100%. And I just wanted to bring it to your attention because when it happened a month ago, another neighbor across the street from me, Nancy Sargent, had replaced her pipes about 18 months ago inside her house, but not outside. We've spoken to John Vesser, who's on Westminster Street. He had to have his outside sewer pipe replaced, I believe, last year. So, and I don't know of anybody else, but I did through Amy, I did hear about up the street across from Carl's house, the Stickney house, that yellow house that just before Hartley Hill. And she happened to call me up because the same Saturday she had also a backup of sewer. I don't know. I have not been in touch with her since to see how it has has recurred the problem or whatever. And that's really my comment. I feel satisfied with talking with Rob, that, the pipes were, all PVC. My son and David, my husband, this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, they dug outside my yard and we have now exposed our sewer pipe. And we have found at 12 feet out, we found the white PVC connection. So, and that's really that's our story.
Yeah.
And,
so I'm
it.
going to interrupt you, Margaret, but thank you for being so clear on the chain of events that happened at your place and your research on other neighbors. I talked to Matt Brennan about the situation as one of our longest members on the select board. And he reminded me that it is the residence owner's responsibility from the house to the main line of the sewer.
Correct.
So if something happens in the sewer line, that is something the village needs to pay attention to. And
exactly. And this is not the case.
Good. I'm not good. It's terrible. I'm sorry that you've had this to deal with.
But good for the town.
Yeah. The other information that I have from the wastewater treatment plant operators is that our major pipes are routinely flushed. So they actually go through on a rotating basis through the town, making sure that those pipes stay open.
Okay.
I was also pleased that Rob Wheeler sent you a map showing connections. I thought that that's a great service for people to know about.
Yes.
Are there any questions or comments from other members of the public, and then we'll take a minute for trustees? Connie Lancaster, are you on to talk about the sewer?
Am I now unmuted?
You are now unmuted.
Okay. No, I'm not here about sewer.
Okay, we'll wait your turn.
In an item later down in the agenda.
Okay, great. Thanks for your patience. Comments from the trustees? Anything we need to do to follow up? Okay, moving on. 4 locations of village property and improper public use. I had thought that Matt Brennan would be here.
Matt is having difficulty connecting. He's been talking to Pat to try and get in by phone.
Oh, okay.
If we wait a few minutes, he might be connected.
Do you want to tell us what's happening with the village tax rate?
Yeah, nothing. We are not able to set the village tax rate yet because the listers have not finished the grand list. They intend to do it during the month of June, which puts us in a crunch because the town needs our tax rate by the end of June.
I assume that the listers are having the same difficulty for Rockingham and Bellows Falls. It's not just Saxtons River that's
Well,
singled
it's not
out?
just Saxtons River. It has,
Okay.
according to the email I got from Mike, the state is implementing some new software, and that's slowing things up.
Okay. So this is a town-wide problem. And
As far as I know, yes.
yeah. Inessa, do you have any questions on the tax rate and the grand list? And yeah, so you know that
I'll just follow Carl's lead.
And you know the bills are generated by the town of Rockingham.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got that taken care of. I still don't see any sign of Matt.
That's why I was muted, trying to dig up some information for Pat to relay to Matt. So,
okay, well, why don't we wait on the item number 5? We'll give him at least another 15 or 20 minutes and keep going without him. So stipends for clerk, treasurer, delinquent tax collector, and tax collector. I've looked back through the warrants and discovered that the annual stipend, as far as I can tell, the annual stipend for the clerk is $325. Carl,
correct.
does that seem right?
That is correct.
So that's annually. That's once a year.
Yes.
So you would submit an invoice to us, which
No.
that's how it's been done before.
No, I just got a check.
You just got a check?
I just got a check.
Okay. Inessa, or did you take care of that?
Carl, would you, not me, not in my term. Carl, if you don't mind, do you know the date when you got it? Approximately?
No, not offhand.
Like in the fall, in the summer?
No, it's in the summer.
Okay. Can I follow up with you one-on-one?
Sure.
Okay.
I need to change the subject. Pat says that Matt is unable to connect using the phone number, code, and so forth on the agenda.
Okay.
Suggestions?
I was also unable to.
And Pat was also unable to connect.
Okay.
On Zoom.
It may be that Zoom
Pat said
updates.
she was unable to connect on Zoom.
By using that meeting code and passcode.
It looks like, Amy, it looks like the phone number, only the phone number is available has a weird 646 number. It's not 800. If you go to your Zoom and go to your
Is that meeting night?
like a link to and sealed away. There's like a lot of phone numbers usually listed.
Yep.
Maybe there's an alternative phone number.
Okay, let's see.
Amy, I believe the problem is with the number that you give us. The
Yep.
passcode.
Oh, for the passcode?
Yep.
Village would work.
Because Pat was unable to log in on Zoom, but I was using Village. She was unable to log in using the number.
Yeah, you have two different passcodes.
Yep.
So you
And
can,
those were both on the Zoom. So
it's a-
the meeting passcode,
No, passcode is the same. I'm sorry. The ID is different. Yeah. Never mind.
okay, let's see if I can get into Zoom.
passcode incorrect.
He has staff meeting if he was to overnight. Just going to give him my phone. Well, if he's got his computer.
Yeah, I just tried calling. The
Zoom,
meeting ID does not
password,
exist. It said.
Password Village.
If he calls again, he may.
So Carl,
Yes,
what if, or maybe Kristen, since Carl is busy taking minutes, would you be willing to call Matt and have him Zoom with you?
Sure, I'm really on my, so let me go get my phone.
I'm going to
And I
text
will.
you. I'm going to, let's see. Do you have
Oh,
my
I'll use
number?
my cell phone.
So my number is 802-591-3418. And then I will text you Matt's number.
I'm all right there.
okay.
Where are you texting the number? I don't know if you have my cell phone.
I don't. That's why I gave you. Oh, you don't have your cell phone. Sorry.
No, I do, right here. Oh,
Okay,
so I
so-
should
so
text you.
If you
Okay,
text me, I'll give you Matt's number.
okay. Wait, I just call, hold on. Bear with me.
Yeah.
You might want to move on to one more agenda while I figure this out. Wait.
Okay, next on the agenda.
So Amy, I just called in. I hang up. So in that email, at the bottom of it, the ID number needs to be continued 3773. So what he entered is what's on top, and it's breaking out, so it's not the full ID. So if we have Matt online, his meeting ID is 84502983773. I bet he didn't see 3773. I didn't see it in the beginning.
Well, that's what's on the agenda. Whether on the top
What's
or the
his
bottom.
what's his phone number? Can I call him?
I'm just having Kristen call him.
Ah, okay.
Matt? Hi, it's Kristen. So I'm going to try to put you on speakerphone. so you can participate in the meeting? Okay, all right.
Thank you, everyone.
That's okay. This happens.
My apologies for technical difficulties. I'm sure that it was initiated by me, and this is what happens when you rely on an eternal link and you never double check it. At least we have a quorum here tonight. In fact, we have everybody here tonight with Matt on speakerphone. So Matt, if you wouldn't mind leading off the discussion on the village property and improper public use, that would be helpful. Kristen, I can't hear him. Can you?
Matt,
Yeah,
did you hear that question?
no.
I think, Kristen, you're going to have to take off your headset.
Okay, yes.
Try to ask him to redial that and add the last 4
Matt?
digits.
Yes,
Can you hear?
I can hear you.
Great. So Matt,
Hear me?
So Matt, we can hear you, and we'd like you to start talking about the village property and the improper public use.
They want you to talk about the village property and the improper public use.
Okay, we're on that topic now.
Yes.
Okay. So, you know, the first one is around the corner here on, was it Maple Street? 5 Maple Street. The village has a piece of property and it's been cleared of everything. So that we've had a couple of calls about that. I'm a little concerned that the new owner of the abutting property is just taking things into their own hands without checking with the village. And I'll go through the other ones just briefly, and you can discuss as needed. The next one is behind the wastewater treatment plant, and I'll call it the Big Blue Mansion. There's dumping of yard debris and whatnot, dumped in trees and dirt that is encroaching on village property back there. The next one obviously is the property line to the south of the wastewater treatment plant, where snowmobiles and motorcycles and monster trucks are encroaching on village property sometimes. And the last one is at the far end of River Street, where you come down off from Main Street, and on the sharp corner, there's a piece of property that was not turned into a part of the park. There's a split rail fence that is broken now, and there's looks like two different areas that are using that for getting rid of yard waste. There's the Christmas tree down there. So it's not major stuff, it's not polluting, but it just seems like there's several of them going on.
Thank you, Matt. That's a great summary. So 4 different properties. The Mill and Maple one is the one that we've addressed before. And I'm disappointed to hear that it's been clear cut now. I thought that we had nipped that in the bud.
Yes, and I had a phone call from the, not sure the name that I read.
Carrie Winter.
He had contacted you.
Yeah, Carrie Winter.
Yes. Yeah, he left me a message today. I called him back, and, there's a little rub there going with the person that was clearing it. And so, I talked to him and I said, well, we didn't, authorize anything. I did tell him after meeting, reporting to the board, not to cut anymore and, not to develop it. It seemed like you want to plant grass or plant, flower garden. I'm not exactly sure.
Jeepers. So do we need to talk about a no trespassing order?
I don't know. I'm taken aback by it all. Now to go on, so there was cutting done there, cleaning up. I spoke with the individual twice that don't cut anymore, and then 3 of the very large ash trees were removed, cut down, and he cut them up and split the wood up for firewood and took it to his house. And he said the power company took them down because they were interfering with the power line. Now the power line was moved. There are phone and cable lines that go across there. So my next step was to contact Green Mountain Power, find out from whoever was on site, what really went down. If someone was acting as though it was their property and gave the okay, or they said these trees have to come down and that's it. So I don't want to make it bigger than it is, but I think there needs to be something done so that village property, especially that one, isn't used for somebody's use.
Yeah. Carl, go ahead. I
Just
see your
to be
hand.
clear, Matt, so you have contacted the utility companies. Did they say that, I'm not clear, did you get an answer from them as to whether or not it was their doing that the trees came down?
Yeah, I didn't get much of that, unfortunately. I think the connection there is not.
He asked if you had reached the power company yet to determine if they. No.
I have.
Okay.
That was my next step, was to call them and just kind of track it back and make sure that everything is legit. The trees had to come down, and that's part of it. But the other part is it was clear cut, minus those trees before then. Without, the village being asked if that could happen. So I will continue to follow up the Green Mountain Power and the company that did the cutting.
I think we're going to have another meeting in mid-June because we've got to set the tax rate. So I'm going to wait to hear from Carl on the timing of that meeting. In my mind, I've earmarked the Monday night 2 weeks from tonight, just to keep it clear and available. Perhaps we should do some follow-up before then. I might talk to Louise Loring about any past history about village property and trespassing signs. Does anyone have any expertise in this area?
No.
Okay.
I think that it would be a good idea to post the land, since it, or just have a notice saying this is village property. I don't think we want to say no trespassing because, residents are part of the village. But I'm disturbed about having the trees cut down or about having the land cleared. And I think that if it turned out that that was not done by order at the need of the power company, then the tree should be replaced. I think that the power company should be contacting us before they take trees down. I mean, when they cut trees along my land, they always ask me if it's okay. And I think that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to contact the property owner.
Kristen?
I agree with Carl that it might make sense to post not put up no trespassing, but at least delineate what is village property, because I live on Maple Street and I was not aware that the village owned any property at all on Maple Street.
Okay. How about as well as talking to Louise about past Saxtons River, what if I check in with Scott Pickup about, I mean, certainly they have plenty of Rockingham property, and see if there's best practices. Anyone object to that?
Nope.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay. So it seems to me we have 4 places where we need to post signs. We had talked about that, and then we kind of dropped it for the vehicle usage along the river up to the wastewater treatment plant. But it sounds like we need to revisit all of these.
Well, we had talked about trying to verify where the property line is along the wastewater treatment plant. I don't remember whether we were going to call a surveyor in or whether we were going to go look for a pin or some marking of it. But I think it would be good to mark where our actual line is there. I agree.
I did a little discussing with Kath Martin about the cost of a survey and then backed off. These things are more complicated than they appear initially. So you didn't tell me to make an agreement for it. You just asked me to get a ballpark figure, and it was quite high.
Well, if we have a survey map of the property, which if we don't have, it should be on file with the town, it will indicate exactly how that boundary is marked, whether it's a pin or whether it's by a measurement from a pin. But if there's a pin in the ground there, we ought to be able to find it. And if we know where the boundary is, we could just post the sign there.
Okay.
Saying, this is village property, no vehicles or no trespassing or whatever. I think it is, around the wastewater treatment plant, I think it's a little bit different situation because of, the equipment that we have there and potential hazards of whatever. I think we want to be a little bit more concerned about use of that property.
Okay. So I'll investigate and bring it to the next meeting, which I'm assuming will be in June. Are there any other comments or suggestions at this point? And if anyone from the public would like to comment, of course, that's it's your position to do so. Hearing none, no action to be taken. Okay, on to the next. Thanks for looking into that and doing the legwork, Matt.
Yeah, I'll follow up on it.
That would be great. So the village tax rate, for Matt's information, we can't do that until the grand list has been done. And we're waiting to hear when that happens. Everybody's under the same deadline, June 30th. So I'm anticipating that we'll do whatever the town of Rockingham and the village of Bellows Falls do. I'm sure the listers are sweating it out. We talked about, did we cover all of the business about the stipends?
No.
No.
we did
And
not.
Nessa, do you want to ask your follow-up questions? I think we got sidetracked because of the difficulty of getting more people onto the Zoom.
My understanding that the link with the tax collector does not receive anything, just to
I think that's
confirm.
correct.
And the treasurer and tax collector receive separate 2 stipends.
So I have information from 2021 on that. There is it looked to me like a total of $1,250 would go to the treasurer for the wastewater treatment plant and the village and the tax collector.
The tax collector is also $1,250.
$1,250. It's $625 for each, so a total of $1,250.
Are you sure about that?
I'm just
625?
I think that because the treasurer and the tax collector get paid by the village and by the wastewater treatment plant. Those stipends are split.
So I saw a bill for $312.50. So from the wastewater treatment plant, $312.50 from the village. So that would make a total of $625.
Okay. I thought,
But I'm happy to be corrected.
I just, my feeling was that the stipends were more than that.
If you have evidence, that would be great.
Nope. I have no evidence. It was just my vague recollection. That's why I asked the question of you. I need this information for the survey for, on the compensation and so forth that I'm doing.
All right, can you repeat, please? I'm confused.
So Inessa, the annual salary for the clerk is $325.
Yeah.
The annual salary for the treasurer is $625, and for the tax collector, $625.
Okay.
Those two positions draw their money from two different sources.
Okay. Gotcha.
The wastewater treatment plant account and the village account.
So which one is which?
So
The treasurer?
each of them draws half from each account.
Ah, okay. But the clerk is from the village, right?
I believe that's correct.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And in the past, the way this has been handled is that an invoice has been presented to the person approving invoices. So I was suggesting that Carl initiate the invoice for the clerk portion, and you, Inessa, initiate the invoice for the treasurer and the tax collector.
Yes, we do need an invoice. I support that very much.
Okay.
There's
Fine.
Matt. It's
Hey,
what-
Matt, you're in.
This poetry is horrible.
Hey.
Thank you. So you can hang up on him, Kristen. I'm sorry. I owe a big apology to everyone. I will make sure that the Zoom settings are crisp and clear and double checked before we meet again. This is awful when we can't get trustees on who should be able to come in seamlessly. Okay, are we ready to move on to treasurer policies, training, and financial advice? Okay, Inessa, you have the floor.
All right. I communicate with the VLCT, an organization that helps out municipal organizations, and talk to the lady who represents an accounting sort of financial support with them, Sarah Massey. We had a 30-minute free chat, and she recommended me to just to look back, start from a little bit of a history. So some accounting things, recommend how to approach the QuickBooks. And basically that was it. She does on her own the 125 per hour plus transportation plus traveling to come in if we need to, but she's very reluctant to do that because it's far away for her. She's in St. Albans. I asked if there is anybody else she would like to recommend. She said that's her, that's it. She's the one. So that's the option. I do have from my work an independent accountant who actually a consultant for QuickBooks, and planning to run by her a plan what I think needs to be done for the QuickBooks, how to continue the transition from Quicken to the QuickBooks. So I will follow up with that. So that's the on accounting. The same with the VLCT. I went on their website, set up my login, and we can have like a modulars for different policies. I communicate with, also asked that from Sarah about what she would recommend, and she has recommended purchasing, accounting, financial audit, if we have a credit card, debit card, something like that, investments, cash receipts, petty cash. So just, simple things. They're like a page long. Emil mentioned that we have purchasing policy, which is good. I recommend to the board to review them maybe once in 2 years, in 3 years, not every year. It depends on you guys.
We don't have many policies. We have
Right.
this large purchasing policy.
Right.
Carl, Matt, you'll remember the name. Ellen, it's the one that we used. We were asked to develop it because of our wastewater treatment expenditures.
Mm-hmm.
It's on
And
the
maybe we
website.
can review that. Maybe you guys can review that later and shorten it. If you want me to look into this modulars for purchasing as well, we can do that throughout the year. So I'm here to ask for the procedures. So if I am looking at a document, I need to sort of, tailor for us. What do I do? Do I do that on my own and then send it to Amy, or how do I do that?
You can make recommendations, but it's up to the board to make policy. Does anybody want to contradict that? I believe that's the way it should happen. The treasurer is independently elected, but you rely on our policies to operate.
Sure. Yeah.
The recommendation that I was given by one of the auditors, Teresa Spear, was Ron Smith from RHR Smith, and I can get more information on him. He audited the books for the town of Rockingham, and when they transitioned to a new treasurer, Alyssa Harlow, he was very helpful, paid for his services in streamlining the accounts that she used, which seems to me the major focus. I mean, you're already doing an excellent job of surveying everything and making sure that what needs to be paid is paid. But I think what we need is an overview of the accounts and fewer accounts now that we've transitioned to new software.
You're talking about bank accounts?
Yes.
And what's the company he's with, Ron Smith?
RHR Smith. So I will get contact information for him. And maybe in June, I'll have a fee structure and the board can discuss it and decide what we want to do. I mean, I think we all agreed at the end of last year that we needed to pay someone to help us out of what was increasingly becoming an untenable situation.
Yeah, that company is our auditors at my work.
Good.
So I have
comments from the rest of the board. Contradict me if I've misconstrued our framework. Carl, you're leaning forward.
I just would like to go back and be clear on what we've decided about policy.
So Inessa is suggesting that we come up with some policies based on models from the League of Cities and Towns.
Okay.
Maybe we can 1, 2, 3 make a list. I would like to have that, not a vague, but so yeah, a short list would be helpful. It takes us a while to come up with policy. Yeah, accounting and financial audit, cash receipts, petty cash. Well, we don't have petty cash, just cash receipts. Investments. No, I see we have one account of investments, by the way, which is losing money. I had a question about that.
That's what the came from the rec area, or was it others? We had the rec area had stuff in T row price for years, and that was shifted over to the village.
It's called T. Rowe Price.
Right? Yep.
What?
So that's for the rec area in essence?
Yeah, that came from the rec area. That's where we, when I was involved with the rec area and there was money just in an account, it was invested in that. And you're saying that's losing money?
Yes.
How much is in that currently?
So let me try to find the latest 2021 I have. I don't know if we saw anything latest in the mail. Oh, here's 22. Hold on. March 22, kind of the latest, I suppose. All right, so year to date, that's a March 2022, 45,251.
Okay, but that's losing money, you say?
Looks like 1,600, 1,700 is a loss. So it was $46,950. So
Well,
I don't,
good.
this is a year ago. I have no idea what is now.
Okay.
I don't
Just,
see any, just
Hold
as an FYI, I haven't seen any statements from T. Rowe Price at all.
Maybe it's a login. Maybe somebody has a login or we can establish login.
Does Sam Fletcher?
Here's September 2022, a little further. We have now $40,237.
Really?
So last year to date loss of 6,700. And looks like it's, I don't know what it's invested in. It's 100% blended assets. I don't know what that means.
So it sounds like that should be taken out of there and put someplace else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Matt, is it somebody's contribution was originally given?
There was a sale of land. See, the rec area lands go up Pleasant Valley Road, what used to be Caesar Camps. So there's several ponds, like the one that the fishing derby is in.
Yeah.
And then there's 1, 2, maybe 3. There used to be a building, a cabin across from one of them. And there was a piece of land that was sold to Vermont Academy back quite a few, before I was involved. And that started the having some money to run the rec area. And the big plan was to get enough money invested that would pay for the yearly expenses for the rec area. And then so with fundraising, and there was, over the years, there was smaller amounts donated to the rec area. And then that account was started to grow.
So the town sold the land to a private citizen, private.
No, the town did not own that. It was the
Okay. So private
Saxtons
sale.
River Rec Area Inc. owned all those, and still, and the village owns them now. So the current rec area and these pieces of land and ponds up above it are owned by the village now.
And
So
do
if
you remember, like in the 90s and 2000s, or when this account was open?
That's good.
Vanessa, I'll go through my filing cabinets and see what I've got for
It
you.
was, yeah, early 90s. Yeah, early 90s, yeah. Probably.
Okay. So this is not
So,
everything then.
I don't think if people want to work on investments, that could be a subcommittee. I would not put an investment policy at the top of our needs at this point. I'm more interested in tightening up our practices.
Okay.
Making
Maybe
sure that
debit card. We don't have a credit card, but debit card
we have a credit card.
would do.
I believe so.
Or it's a debit card, isn't it?
Is it a debit card? Okay. I know it was used to pay for large expenses.
Yeah, it's tied up to TD.
Okay. Let's put that on the agenda for July. Credit card / debit card.
Yeah.
Policies and uses.
Accounting, financial audit, credit card, debit card, cash receipts. 3. Okay.
So I've got a comment.
Comment from Matt.
Just in regards to the T. Rowe Price investment stuff. Some years ago, we tried to get a grip on all the accounts, the general accounts and this account and that account, and we tried to consolidate the wastewater treatment, the village, and as far as the fire station was concerned, and tried to get monies so that we weren't having to move them around. So we were trying to consolidate all of that. But then when you start doing projects like the wastewater treatment plant, we were involved or attached to the project at Main Street Arts. The money came through us, so we had to open up another account. And then we have the park account. So all these things kind of come up, and then it just makes more and more and more accounts that it might be time for somebody to look at these along with this, investment stuff, and consolidate and make it a little bit easier, because I don't know how many checking accounts we have, and savings accounts and
10.
general accounts, and 10?
10 total.
Yeah, which seems
4 market accounts, money market.
right. And that's what we were doing, was with both the wastewater treatment plant and the general account and the fire station. We were trying to get them so that it was at least making some money, but making it available if needed. So
Liquid.
yeah.
So should we have that as a next item for the next time agenda? Because I can talk to Louise Lurin, I can talk to Matt, sort of get the sense of a history of everything, then prepare some kind of proposal, recommendations to the board.
So I would like to come to you in June with a proposal from Ron Smith. I think this is the kind of area that he's good at.
Okay.
I know that our software will allow us to do a different structure than what we've been forced to in the past with QuickBooks.
Yes.
So there are sub-accounts that can streamline things, but have fewer. It seems to me there are lots more branches, but fewer trees,
Right.
if you will. So,
There you go.
so it may take us a couple of meetings, a couple of months, maybe even 4 or 5 months to get this worked out. But I wouldn't spend a lot of time on it, Anessa, until we've identified someone that we're paying to give us advice. And I'd like, at this point in time, my instincts are that Ron Smith, who worked with the town of Rockingham, may be our guy.
So you said get him by June. What did you say, the deadline?
So what I said is, by the next meeting, I will have an idea of what it would cost to get him and whether he's available and interested.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Do you want me to communicate with him?
No,
Do you want me to?
No, this should come from the board.
Okay.
Okay. Dog waste disposal stations. This is Ellen's little baby. I did some snooping on Amazon, Ellen, after
Oh,
you
you-
talked to me. Oh my God. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm gonna get off.
Thank you, Anessa. Hey,
Thank you.
everybody, she's been doing a wonderful job.
All yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vanessa.
Take care.
Um, Okay, so dog poop waste station. I had been emailing back and forth with Scott Pickup about it. We don't need any permits to install them. He said to purchase them from Amazon, they're very reasonable, around $250. So I did a little poking around, and sure enough, they're around that cost. We would put it on public property. It would come out of, our funds. The only issue that I have not been able to resolve, and it's quite comical, is Scott said the most expensive part of this has been the bags that are stored in the units. And the highway department does clean, take those bags out and replace them, take the poop out and stuff. So that's the only question that's still hanging in the balance for me before I can make this proposal. I did text Andy Howard.
Dorothy.
Yeah. And the cell number I was given was the wrong number.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Was
so
that me?
The person that texted me back was, I'm not Andy, after I had sent this long text about who I was. And I double checked the number to make sure, okay, maybe it was my mistake. So I Googled the cell phone number, and I am so sorry to this person that got this full explanation from me about why I was texting about dog poop bags. So we would just have to figure out where we want to put them. We'd have to figure out which account we want to take the money out of to pay for this. But unfortunately, I'm sorry, I just don't have that last piece of information, because I did ask Scott Pickup about it, but he hasn't been able to get back to me. And then that's when I went to Andy and texted some person about problems with poop.
I looked on Amazon, and I think you're absolutely right. It's like buying the camera and then buying the film. It's the film that makes the money for Kodak. I guess that's outdated now, but so I did find a small dog station that had 2,000 bags for $50. But it also occurred to me that, if I was feeling cheap, I might just go and pull out 2 yards of bags. And
I've been guilty of that.
Yeah. So, we may be supplying the bags of Saxtons River if we put these up.
Yeah. And let me just bring up those conversations.
And the other thing is having really sturdy garbage bags at the bottom of the receptacle that the highway department takes out. Obviously, you don't want a cheap bag that's going to rip.
Yeah, and
those guys will never plow our streets again.
Yeah, and he did. Scott did say in his email to me, we go through a couple $1,000s of replacement bags per year. People take them in bunches.
Yeah.
So, but no permit, and it's just their big issue in Bellows Falls is being able to keep the bags stocked.
Yep.
And I also reached out to Andy to see how we would coordinate with the highway department for cleaning them, because they do clean them. So I apologize that I don't have any more feedback on that, but think about places that we'd want to put them. They would probably have to be on public property. So I didn't know if we'd put one right near the park. I don't know if we, just things for everybody to think about. So hopefully we can have this, make a decision at the July meeting.
Okay. Is everybody all right with that? Kristen, you've barely said a word. Surely you have strong feelings.
Not about not about dog poop.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn. It seems to me like the park is an obvious place, and I will talk to the park committee about how they feel about hosting this
Yeah.
station.
And we'd have to decide on which fund.
$1,000 a year. Yeah.
Well, he said 2,000, so.
Well, he said two. I'm just thinking we wouldn't be quite as bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a lot of money. Absolutely. Of course, if we hated it, we could take it down and stop. What do you think, Kristen? Do people walk their dogs down Maple Street if we put it on that corner lot, corner of Maple and Mill? Is that a reasonable
Hey, that's what we could do, is make that a
I was just
dog
thinking
park.
that would be a way to delineate what's village property for sure.
Oh my God, that's a great idea to have it be a dog park.
Perfect.
I'm sorry, I was thinking also up by the rec area.
Yeah, it seems to me you want it where people walk dogs routinely.
Yeah. In the
Kristen,
village.
I'm sorry, we're interrupting you. You have the floor.
No, that's okay. I haven't noticed a problem on my street. So I mean, where do people complain about it? Where does it seem to be?
Main Street.
Okay.
Didn't somebody also mention that River Street was a problem?
Well, we have one individual that doesn't pick up after their dog. And the interesting thing is there's somebody that carries bags and picks it up and leaves the bag there. Which I saw one coming down Maple Street on the sidewalk. Like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose. But
yeah,
was that on Hartley Hill Road too?
I've actually thought about that scenario, Matt, because I carry the bags with me when I walk my dog.
Yeah.
And if my dog poops the start of our walk, you know, I got the bag and then I've got to carry it for however long. So maybe some people are just like
could be.
Down.
Yeah, we've done that before and then forgotten.
Yeah.
To loop back around.
I was hoping that be the case, but I guess
my sense of the biggest loop is down Main Street, up Pleasant Street, back along the south border of between Vermont Academy and the elementary school and back to Main Street. I mean, that's where I see dog walking, but maybe that's just, are there a lot of people that walk River Street or Maple Street? Yeah. Okay.
Quite a few.
Kristen?
What would, if that's like a walk, would Vermont Academy approve like one on Burke Street or like on that loop, like tucked off if we got permission? I mean, that would be, if that's a loop people are using, would that be like on the Vermont Academy side? So it's kind of, maybe they would say, okay.
Yeah, we could try it for a year and see what happens.
Yeah, we could always take it down, decide it was too expensive. Yeah. We, of course, did not budget for $1,000 a year in dog station. We do have Carl's special fund. Was that $500, Carl?
Yeah.
So we passed that in the town budget. All right. Anything else to add? You wanted to bring this back in July?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch base with Andy.
Okay.
Just to make sure that they would be able to take care of it. I don't want to commit to it and then one of us has to do it.
Yep.
On top of everything else.
The chairperson is you.
So everybody be thinking, is this worth $1,000 a year to you? And that's taxpayer money. So, you know, it's not huge, but it's significant.
Right, but if people don't like what they're seeing, then
yeah. Okay, so we've gotten a nice agenda going for July already. It's great. I love that. Dog poop. Okay, committee updates. Municipal Energy Resilience Program. I asked Kristen if she would look into this, and she said she would. Kristen.
Okay, so I have called Mike McConnell, and he was very helpful.
You're going to have to tell people who Mike McConnell is.
He works at the Wyndham Regional Commission, and he had reached out to Amy about the program and the grant and said he would be a contact person. So I reached out to him, and there's a survey, online survey that I will fill out. There is a mini grant application, which is open now for $4,000, and the mini grant will cover an ADA assessment of the fire station, because I think that's the building we're focused on. And it will also provide funds for education. It's not the free energy assessment. That grant application is not yet available. So when it is available, I will, since I'm filling out the survey, I'll be in the loop. And that's free. It's just a free assessment of the building, but the application is not yet online or available. Did you know that, Amy?
No, I didn't. I thought it was. Okay.
So the mini grants, though, I'm happy to do that, but I just want to make everyone aware that he said if you fill that app, that's for the ADA assessment, and if we get any grants, we would have to make the fire station ADA compliant, and I don't know if that's a big ask, and there's not money to make the building ADA compliant. There won't be funds for that. It's just telling us what we need to do.
Yeah.
That's just mind-boggling.
Yeah. So in a sense, though, I mean, if we decide to go ahead with a fire station, knowing that it would be terrifically expensive to make that building compliant, may be an asset to us. You know, I think what we're doing is being diligent about exploring the current building we have. I am hoping that nobody ever goes up those rickety stairs to the second floor. At least when Carl, were you with me when we were looking for old documents?
Yep, I was.
It's horrible up there. It feels very unsafe. Matt, is there a second floor over the fire engine place is just one story? It's
that's
two,
where
or is it two?
That's where the rec area used to have their annual meeting.
Oh, gosh.
There's open area in there. Oh, yeah.
The fire department.
Great time.
Training up there too.
The fire department does training up there?
Used to. I believe it's been condemned or declared.
Yeah, not more than one person or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what do we want to tell Kristen?
So if we apply for this mini grant, does that then obligate us to act on it, or?
The answer is I'm thinking yes.
We have to make the building compliant?
I'll get clarification on that.
Yeah, I don't think we want to agree to that.
Right.
No. Right. We'd have to tear it down to do that.
I mean, my interest really is just in the energy audit. And I think that's what I was hearing in the seminar is what everybody wants. We want to know how to make our town buildings more sustainable.
Right. But if we're not going to act on it, then why go through the process? Because we know many things about the building. One, it's part of it's condemned. Two, it's not sufficient for the vehicles or the personnel that use it, and needs replacement. So we know those three things. If we're not going to act on what the report says, then why go through it?
Well, my thought was that we wanted to have an energy assessment because we lose a lot of heat in that building. And I don't see us building a new fire station in the next 5 years. I mean, if we got a huge bucket of money tomorrow, it would take us at least 3 years, I think, to agree on plans and site and get going.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I'm thinking that what I want to do is conserve the results of that outrageous oil and electric bill. I mean, it's not outrageous, it's our fire support, but it is outrageous. It costs a lot to heat that leaky old building.
Mm-hmm.
Carl.
I point out too that with the Affordable Energy or Affordable Heat Act is going to boost the cost of fuel oil, which is what we use to heat that building. So the cost is in the next 3 years going to go up. So it might be prudent to look at ways to conserve heat energy. If the audit is free, I think we want to follow through, even if we can't afford to do many of the things. There may be some things that will help out.
So what I'm hearing from you, correct me if I'm wrong, is energy audit, yes. ADA compliancy, no.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So Kristen, can you pursue that?
Yeah, I want to get clarification that if by opening the door to getting any of these grants, we have to be ADA compliant. And if the answer is yes, we may not want to go forward. And then the other thing is, these grants are just to do an assessment, not to pay for the fix.
Yeah.
And do we know already what some of the answers are? I mean, I don't personally, but like, Matt, do you know what they're gonna? I mean, I'm wondering if
I know the answer. We need a new fire station.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Is there are there short-term solutions we might already know that we can do?
Yeah. So
without the audit.
We sort of go through this every 2 years, at least every 2 years, Kristen. So if you remember, we made the decision to take a relatively low bid to have the fire station painted. And we had the roof repaired and work on the siding done so that it was more watertight than it had been. And we argued whether that was an efficient use of money, given the fact that we don't anticipate being in that building forever. But in the end, we painted it and we repaired the roof and we repaired the siding. So we're going to keep having this discussion. But if there are energy things, I don't think we know specifically what they are. You know, is it insulation? Is it better garage doors? Is it sealing the garage apart from the rest? You know, what's it called for? Carl, are you making a motion?
No, I'm flexing my hand. That's all.
Okay. All right. Any other comments?
So where's
We're encouraging Kristen, but we're not interested in ADA compliance. We're interested in an energy audit.
I am going to get a more clear answer on that question.
Okay.
Because the energy audit application is not yet available.
Crazy. And that's the one that we really care about.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you for taking this on, Kristen.
Okay.
This is great. And unofficially, you know, if you're sitting next to Margot Gia at some community event, ask her because she knows a lot too.
Okay, I will.
She and Mike are the two people that are doing Wyndham Regional Commission MERP stuff. And I'm sure she gave us to Mike so that there wouldn't be any conflict of interest. Fire station update or fire committee. Matt? Anything?
No, I don't believe so. At the No, there's nothing after the last meeting we had, nothing new per se. Most of it came out in the tri-board meeting regarding police and ambulatory services, you know, that are ongoing. But nope, there's nothing.
Okay. Wastewater treatment plant, Carl, anything
Nope.
on your agenda? Okay, and I asked to add update on the municipal planning grant for 37 Main Street. So in the last 2 weeks, Gary Fox and Betsy Thurston have been writing the official report and sending in copies of invoices, checks, survey documents, and the product. They've had me writing an official cover sheet for the report. And I will have a new document for Carl to upload with that cover sheet. So basically the, I've forgotten the name of the department, Housing and Communities, Vermont Department of Housing. It won't come. Sorry. The people who give out the municipal grants, they wanted acknowledged on the cover page of the report that funding came from their outfit for this project. So it looks that way now, and the document is a tiny bit different than it was. Inside that cover sheet is exactly the same, and the final page is the Main Street Arts statement that they made about selling 37 Main Street. So that will be available to you. At the July meeting, I would like to present arguments for continuing to have the board seek developers for 37 Main Street. Having heard the Ridwig presentation at the town of Rockingham, Bellows Falls, Saxtons River meeting, I think this is the business of each of our municipalities. Not to build buildings, but to try and find developers who can build buildings. So I'm going to present that in July and bring your arguments as to why it's a bad idea or a good idea.
I think Matt has a question.
Matt.
A comment. Quite some time ago, before Main Street Arts took possession of the building, it was offered to the village for a fire station.
The 37 Main Street?
That's correct.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, at no cost. I think there should be some thought into that happening again. That Main Street Arts, being that they did not pay for the building, they didn't buy the building, it was given to them, that possibly the village would, maybe they should, you know, donate it to the village and then go from there. Obviously, a village, municipality has a better chance of different scenarios for it than they would. So.
Okay. Carl, did you catch that?
I think so, yes.
Other comments? All right, national opioid settlements. So I have been the receipt of many emails for these distributions. Municipalities can receive money. For larger municipalities, it's thousands of dollars. When I looked into it initially, the amount of work and the remuneration seemed oddly disproportionate. Saxtons River was up for $57, and I said, I'm not going to do that. It's looking more like $200. But I did hear from the town of Rockingham that it requires a lot of paperwork to get this money back. The money does not come to the village. Well, it comes to the village, and then the village finds a program to turn it over to. So, for example, it might be Turning Point, which works with addictions in our area. The idea is that our population was disproportionately hurt, by the prevalence of opioids. Therefore, we can receive these sums and turn them back. I am happy to continue ignoring these. It's $200 and I have a lot on my plate. What is your pleasure?
I'd say
Matt?
let it go. Given the amount that's involved, I'd say just let it go.
Anybody feel differently about it?
No, I agree.
Okay, thank you. Fire and rescue call report. So I asked Art and Nick to give us numbers every month. And on the bottom of your agenda, I have printed there in April, there were 3 EMS calls and 2 fire calls, one a mutual aid call to Bellows Falls and one a fire alarm at Vermont Academy. So with your permission, I'll continue doing this just as a way to make public what the emergency medical system is doing for us and what the fire department is. Comments?
Nope, sounds good.
I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a
Okay.
good idea.
Passive and HCA management visit. Passive is, of course, our workman's comp and our insurance for the properties we own, particularly the wastewater treatment plant, the Saxtons River Rec facility, and the fire station. And tomorrow at 8 a.m., somebody is flying in from Illinois from HCA management to walk through the wastewater treatment plant and the fire station. I am meeting, I believe his name is Gino Rizzo, and I've asked someone from the wastewater treatment plant to meet us there at 8 a.m. If any of you are interested, you're certainly welcome. I think this is routine. I have in my files a previous HCA visit. So I think it's passive, making sure their assets are continue to be fairly managed and represented, that the valuation is in line with what their records show. Everyone okay with that?
Yep.
More of information. Okay, sheriff contract and signature. You have, I believe you've seen it before, but I have it available if you want to see it now. What's your pleasure? This is a vote on whether to sign the sheriff's contract tonight, whether to approve and sign it. They sent it to us months ago. It appears in our budget, but I do have it if you want to see it.
Yeah, what's the gist of it anyways? As far as numbers, I opened something, but it looked like a bill.
So I sent everything that they sent. They are now emailing us routinely with the, hold on a minute, share screen.
If you have your email open, it's,
do you want to share it? If you have it up, I'd be happy to give you the privilege.
yeah, that's fine. I can share it.
Okay, hold on. Let me make you the co-host. Ellen is the co-host. You should be able to share now.
You guys see? Alrighty. So, this contract is June 30th of 2023. Do you guys want me to zoom in or anything? Like, what would help?
Now, what's the scope? What's the rate? I guess is the biggest thing. Or how much are we contracting them for, and what's the rate?
Let's see.
It's like
The town agrees to prepay services. Payments will be made in 12 equal payments of $800. The town shall pay the office the sum of $9,600 for the services provided under the agreement. The office shall be paid at the regular rate of $62 per hour per deputy.
Shouldn't
I
it
know
say,
that it's a little bit higher. It was $750 a month. Now we're up to $800.
shouldn't it say how many hours that covers?
I think it's 6.
What?
I believe it's 6.
6 what?
6 hours per month. Oh, wait.
Oh, no, it's 12.
I'm sorry. It's 12.
So what we have, in the past, what we have said was, and maybe they can't do this for us, but when I was involved with the rec area and even in the village here, it seems as though our biggest problems lie when school gets out and kind of dwindles when school is back in session. And so we have kind of pushed them to do random, don't say when you're going to be in town, but nights and weekends and in the middle of the summer, be available, be in the village and around the village area. So 12 hours a month.
Well, I think though that, Matt, that what you're saying is covered later there, where they say numbers of hours per month will be adjusted to the specially identified needs of the town. So
Okay.
I think that we could continue to do as we've done in the past.
Right.
I think we'd
that
have
should
to
be-
make that explicit, though.
Right. We should, and I'm sure every town is like that. I mean, January, November, December, January, February, March is, kids aren't just running around randomly as much as when school gets out or close to when school gets out and sometime after school goes back into session. It's always been when we've had most activities. So I guess
if that's our need, Matt, then we should draft that as a letter, it seems to me, and send it to them.
Right. We should say we want more in the summertime, on a random basis. And, I know they have over the years been short-staffed and they do as much as they can. And then people complain about speeding on every road in the village. And so they stop in and do a little, a little speed control, but it's both of them.
Any other comments or concerns about the contract in front of us, which Ellen is scrolling through?
I have a question. Is this basically the same contract as last year, except the price has gone up?
Yes.
Okay.
You want to change it?
No, I was just curious if it was what you had already, and this is in our budget already.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm looking for a motion to approve the contract from the Sheriff of Windham County and to authorize the chair to sign the contract. We can make the motion and second it, discuss further, and if you feel this is a bad contract, we can vote it down. Do I have a motion to approve?
I will make that motion.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
So-
who made that motion?
Kristen Swartout. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, I think you can take the contract down now, Ellen, and thanks for showing it to us so deftly. So it's been moved and seconded to approve the contract with the Sheriff of Windham County and authorize the chair to sign the contract. Is there further discussion?
No.
Under further discussion, Matt, should we, do you want to craft a list of what you'd like covered? And then we can discuss that in July and send it to the sheriff as a letter?
Sure, but you're going to sign this now, right?
I will sign this now.
Okay.
This is just to be reflected in Carl's minutes and in our construction of the July agenda.
Okay.
Further discussion? Any hands? Ellen, I can't see, but you're so deft. I'm sure you'd do something if you had any. Okay, seeing no further discussion, I think we're ready for a vote on the contract. So this is a motion to approve the contract and have the chair sign it for the village. All in favor signify by holding up your hand or saying aye. Aye. Ellen, how are you voting?
Sorry, I just stepped away. I was coughing.
That's
What
okay.
are you voting for?
We're voting on the contract with the sheriff. Okay, so it's unanimous. And so there are no nays and the motion passes. I will sign the contract tomorrow and send it in. Discussion of the Rockingham tax sale. So is that a request? No, you're just putting your glasses on, Ellen. Okay. The discussion of the Rockingham tax sale. So I think everybody was at that tri-board meeting with the exception of Carl. Carl, it appeared from the discussion, well, I'm going to let Kristen tell this story because she seemed to be right on top of it. Kristen, what was your impression of the role of Saxtons River in recouping money from a Rockingham tax sale for overdue liens?
So from what I understood is that if the town of Rockingham taxes go up for tax sale, the town also includes in their tax sale the village of Bellows Falls delinquent taxes, if there are any, and collects those at the tax sale as well. And it seems to me that if the town of Rockingham were open to it, it would make sense for Saxtons River taxes also, if they're delinquent, to be collected at that tax sale. Because if they're not included, they will get, the lien doesn't stay. You know, if somebody purchases property at a tax sale, they take the property free and clear of any other liens. All the other liens, as long as the lien holders are given notice, they're wiped out at the tax sale. So, that is what gave me pause, because the village has adopted this policy or a proposal to have their taxes collected when the town does a tax sale. And I don't know if it's set up as easily, because, you know, that when you get a tax bill from the town of Rockingham, it automatically includes the village taxes on that tax bill if you live in Bellows Falls. So it would be a further conversation that I would explore if we felt as a board that we wanted to have our taxes collected at a tax sale if they're delinquent. When Rockingham is doing a tax sale, if that makes sense, if people understood what I just said.
So Matt, you have a hand up.
Yeah, so two things. One, you said something about when people living in Bellows Falls, a property in Bellows Falls, gets a Rockingham tax bill, they get their Bellows Falls tax bill also included.
The village tax is included, yes.
Okay. Currently in Saxtons River, we have two different bills. We have a village tax and a town tax.
Correct.
So those need to be combined, but combining them would do what? I mean, does it go to Rockingham and then they send it to us?
No, I don't think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that's what Kristen was getting at. This is a way of recouping our taxes.
I understand, but she said something about the two of them being billed at the same time.
No, I was saying it might be easier because that's how it's set up. But I am not contemplating, I'm still, the village tax would still go out separately and be paid once a year, the way it always has been.
Okay. And what about sewer fees? I would assume like the same scenario in Bellows Falls, a property in Bellows Falls, unpaid, delinquent sewer fees, water fees for them. So we have to somehow have something attached to Rockingham that will recoup those for us. If property in Saxon's River is sold at a tax sale, we have a lien for a village tax, we have a lien for sewer fees. Those don't need to be paid.
No, we want them to be collected at the tax sale.
I understand.
Yeah.
But if we don't do something procedurally,
Proactively, that
then
might,
those could be bypassed.
right. And I think they currently probably are, or maybe they're not. I mean, what
They
has
haven't
happened
been.
to?
They haven't been. We've recouped a lot.
You have.
Yeah.
So if the town has sold a property at a tax sale,
As long as we've had a lien on it, we've been getting caught up on it.
Okay.
But I'm not saying don't do it. I'm certainly in favor. I'm just trying to understand it,
Okay.
make sure that it works. So
maybe they're
I'm all
doing
for
it all. Maybe they're doing it already.
Yeah, I don't know. They kind of said that if we weren't part of the policy or something, then we weren't going to get our money. So I don't quite know what to do with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I had the feeling exactly what you two are saying, that there were circumstances when we would not get our money. And I think you're quite right to bring up the sewer liens. It seems to me those are so intrinsically Saxon's River. I mean, the town of Rockingham never sees those figures. The town of Rockingham does print our tax bills.
Village.
I don't know whether, I'm sorry, our village tax bills.
Yep.
I don't know whether they keep a record of that or whether, we would want to encourage that. But they would have no contact, as far as I'm aware of, with our sewer bills.
So whatever
Who
needs
prints the
to be
sewer
put.
bills? Who prints or generates the sewer bills? then?
We do.
We do.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's the same. It's partly, I think, in honesty, it's, well, I'm going to let Carl speak to this. Why do we print our own sewer bills, Carl?
Good question.
I would say it's because they're pretty matter of fact. They're pretty straightforward.
Because I think we have I think the town does our tax bills sort of as a courtesy to us, because they're running their tax bills, they run ours through at the same time. They don't run sewer bills, so there's no reason for them to run a sewer bill for us. Sewer bills are not computed in the same way that the tax bills are. It's not strictly on the value of the property. So their program, whatever it is they run to generate the bills, wouldn't apply to the sewer bill. And so it would be an inconvenience to them to do it. So they won't, I'm sure. There's no reason for them to.
Matt.
So I guess we need some clarification of the Rockingham tax sale and what Peter Golick was referring to as far as us getting on the bus, if you will, and making sure that we get, village and sewer fees. It seems to have been working, once we started getting on top of things and putting liens on properties, but I don't know that legal stuff as far as they would happen.
If you like, I will ask Peter Golick what his history has been. He certainly knows the Saxtons River situation inside out. Carl, I'm sorry, I didn't
a question
recognize you.
for Matt. Have we actually ever had a tax sale property in Saxtons River from which we've collected lien from a tax sale?
I don't know that.
I can't remember.
I can't. It's been typically when the house is sold or the property is sold.
Right.
And obviously an attorney does a search, and there's been a few of them missed in the past because they weren't on record at the town of Rockingham. So when there was a search done in the town of Rockingham, if there was any taxes due, then those were taken care of, and the property would change hands, and Saxon's River was out. So that's why we kind of pushed to do liens, so there was something there when there was a search done.
But as I understand it, that process of lien, a lien would apply to a normal sale, but not to a tax sale. And that's the issue here, right?
Thank you for clarifying, Carl.
Right, I think that's the case, but
That's what I'm understanding from what you're saying.
That's kind of what Peter had and Kristen had alluded to, that there's two different scenarios there.
Yeah.
So whatever needs to be attached or changed or adopted so that we're covered, we should obviously do.
Yeah. Kristen.
So if a property is sold, not at a tax sale, and even if there's not a lien filed, it's an automatic lien that transfers from owner to owner. So if I buy a property that had back village taxes owed that weren't paid at closing, the new owner is still liable for all of the unpaid village taxes, unless the property was sold at a tax sale.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
that seems to be the crux of the question: tax sale versus
But
normal sale.
having a lien filed in the land records is helpful because a lot of people don't know that there's also a village tax owed.
Right.
Yeah.
So what steps need to be taken to, we have to adopt something, agree to something? I guess that's a Peter Golick question, or do you know it, Kristen?
No, I think I think we need more information from what historically has happened and why it seems like at that meeting that we needed to do something proactive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that in the past, Peter Golick has brought this up at annual meeting. Why aren't we taking advantage? And we had a treasurer who felt very strongly that we had benefited from our current practice. So we need to dig a little deeper into it. I can't believe that a tax sale where we were owed money, we wouldn't get money as long as we knew it was coming. Well, I don't know the structure. I shouldn't even say anything. Okay, so more discussion needed. Come back in July with more evidence. All right, for July. I will say that I think it's been helpful having the tri-board meetings. Certainly, I was never aware before of the tax sale properties. I think partly what we're seeing is the town of Rockingham is moving the schedule up. They want those properties on the up for sale much sooner than they used to. And there's been a whole ripple effect of deadlines and rules coming along with that. So minutes for approval from May 1st, 2023. Can I have a motion?
I move we approve the minutes of May, what was the date?
I have May 1st.
Of May 1st, 2023.
Do I have a second on that motion?
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of May 1st. Is there any discussion? I have a question. I was delighted, of course, to be elected chair again. Thank you all for that. I wonder, was there active discussion of the date and time of the meeting? Is everyone agreed that Monday nights at 7 remotely continues to be the best time for this group to meet?
Mhm.
Kristen, you're new. How's it working for you?
I'm adjusting to Zoom, which is new to me, but Monday, this is good. The first Monday of the month is fine.
Okay, and you know, if there is a holiday, we push it off.
Okay.
You know, we don't meet if it's a Monday holiday. We tend to meet the next Monday.
Okay.
And the tri-board meetings happen about 4 times a year if there is a 5th Tuesday. And hopefully you'll hear about those well in advance. That was my only question. The Brattleboro Reformer continues to be our paper of notice. Everybody's okay with those things? Any other reporting that people wanted to question? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the minutes from May 1st, 2023, signify with a show of hands. And the motion passes unanimously. Warrants and bills for approval. We're over to you, Ellen, and you are still a co-host if you'd like to show us the warrant.
Okie dokie.
And I have a couple of questions. Oof, look at all those things.
Okay, and I can zoom in.
So I had I guess we need a motion on the floor first. Would somebody like to move the approval of the warrant for June 5th?
So moved.
Matt makes the motion. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Kristen seconds it. And we are open for discussion. So in the warrant that I saw, number 7, Allen Engineering, the note said that we are paid up, although there is a bill for $485. Is that still number 7? No, it's been moved. Is it number 4
I'm
now?
sorry. What I did
That's
was
okay.
I sorted this alphabetically.
Okay. So I think it's the invoice of $427.23, $485. Received notice that we had an outstanding balance, emailed vendor. We are all paid up per that email. So should this amount be on the agenda, on the warrant?
It should be removed.
So it's the 485. Okay.
They do
Great.
a couple more.
Well, it's not a removal, but I wanted to point out that the USDA loan is our regular repayment. USDA loan is it was number 9 and now it is alphabetically number 21. So this amount gets withdrawn from our account specifically, routinely, to pay off the USDA loan that we took out so many years ago.
That's what makes the bulk for this.
And that's twice a year.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was an overwhelming number at the bottom of that page, but $51,482 of it is an expected payment, which gets us down to a much more reasonable figure. Kristen, this is an excellent time for you to ask really stupid questions that make the rest of us feel like we know what we're doing.
Well, I am curious about that, the loan amount, like how many more years are on that? So we pay that twice a year for how many more years?
Well, it's a 30-year loan. How many more years do we have?
Something like
1 year, something like that.
Yeah.
How many more years?
Somewhere between 20 and 25, I would think.
And we pay that.
He's about right.
Yeah.
Wow. This is why some of us are reluctant to jump into a fire station.
Okay.
It's a big expenditure.
Mhm.
It
Certainly.
is.
And it's the bulk of your sewer fee too.
Right. Okay. Oh, wait. Ellen, can you go up to, oh, okay, I was just looking at, okay. Do we get this ahead of time? 'Cause I
Yes.
just didn't, okay, so I did not know where to look for it, I guess. Or was it emailed?
Oh, you did not receive this. Oh, the warrant?
Uh-huh.
The warrant just came to you tonight, and Ellen, does Kristen already have access to the Google document?
She does. Kristen, I can help you with the Google Sheets. So this way, whoever, any board member, Art Smith, Rob Wheeler, everybody can look at this whenever they want, however they want. They just can't edit the document. So,
But I have to know, I just need to go and look at it myself. It won't be like an email that says, here it is.
Well, typically there is an email close to the meeting.
Okay.
I think we got one within the last few days. Am I right, Ellen?
well,
Did
no,
you
and
just
that-
send
and
us
that-
one?
And that's my fault, because Kristen, you're right. No, you guys did not get an email from me, and I should have sent one. I sent partials out. What'll happen is every time I go to the post office and I enter the amounts, I email Inessa with a screenshot of all the bills that have been approved, and I CC Amy on this. So that you see almost weekly where we're paying bills. I'm happy to include others in that email.
Well, probably it'd be good to be able to review this at least a day or two in advance of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just to kind of scroll through and say, hey, so that if we have any questions.
100% right. So your emails here are all listed. Matt, I think I just have here your Vermontel address.
Yep.
But I'm happy to add whatever email addresses you want for access. So at
Oh, you
3 in
sent
the
it to my
morning,
Gmail. I
Yeah.
see that. Okay.
so if you wake up at 3 in the morning and say, gosh darn it, I feel like reading a spreadsheet, you can.
But it's been great for me. I mean, something comes up, Rob says to me, wasn't Rob Wheeler from the wastewater treatment plant says to me, didn't we have this as marked as paid? And I go back and look, and now we have a treasurer who is really paying attention and who said to me recently, this payment was initiated, but the process was never completed. So that's why the payment didn't go through. I have completed the process and the payment has been made now. So having the transparency, which begins with Ellen's creation of these spreadsheets visible by month, so you can go month to month and double check, has been invaluable.
Can everybody see down here at the bottom? I have tabs for each warrant for each month. So you can just systematically go back.
7/11,
Yeah.
8/1, 9/12, 10/3. Yeah.
So again, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Nothing better to do. Let's
Why
take a
go
look
on-
at this stuff.
Yeah, why go on TikTok? I'll just go
Yeah,
on
no. This is where we're headed. So a question, are things being reviewed and put into the proper categories because we have these 12 accounts and all
I
these
think there's always a
liabilities that-
learning curve. It's a
Right,
great
but I'm just
question,
wondering-
Matt, but
Rob was wanting to review them so he could say, oh, it goes to plant maintenance, it goes to this, it goes to that.
And if he provides that information, I put it here under the classification.
Okay.
And the same goes for Art and also for Nick.
Yep.
But if
So-
they don't provide it, then I don't add it with the assumption that Inessa knows the category.
I think she is more likely to ask for clarification.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
No,
she's
I was
been
just-
great.
That was one of the areas that was way off in the past year
Correct.
that things were going and charged to this account and that account, and they weren't such.
Yep.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
great to
they're-
be able to review it.
Matt, you're 100% right. And so definitely you can see we started adding those in when we were provided that information.
Okay, great. It's great. Wonderful.
So do you want to take us down to the bottom line again?
Sure.
7522 20. So I'm going to add to that, to the motion that's been made. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the warrant for June 5th in the amount of $70,522.20. The warrant of June 5th. That motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion before we vote? Okay, all in favor of this, of approving this warrant, signify with a show of hands. And it's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, you're all set. If you want to take down that screen, Ellen. And we are on to other business. Is there some other business?
Go ahead.
One at a time, please. Who wants to go first? Matt, Carl.
Yeah, so last time I was tasked with finding out about leaf and brush pickup by the town. And so I have had an email back that they do leaf and small lawn debris pickup spring and fall from April 1st through May 15th and from October 1st through November 15th.
Say those dates again.
April 1 to May 15 and October 1 to November 15. And that,
Okay.
and that the yard waste and leaves have to be in clear bags so that farmers can go around and pick them up to mix in with compost. So that's the response from Andy.
Kristen has a question.
Okay, Kristen, thank you. Thank you, Ellen.
Two questions. One quick question. Who's Andy?
Andy Haworth is the head of the highway department.
Okay. And would it be helpful, like, how do people know this?
Obviously they don't. Yeah, and people get very mixed signals. I think, you know, we have somebody out here putting hot tar around a sewer hole, and those two people might give very different information. Oh, we could pick up your yard waste next week when we come through. You know, I hear this from neighbors. So this is helpful. It's streamlined. It came from Andy. Does the highway department have a place where they put their notices, Carl? Does anybody know the answer to that?
I don't think they do. So I would suggest that maybe this is something we could put up as a notice on our webpage, when it comes close to October 1st.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to have it up now.
I think that would be helpful.
Yeah. Will you do that, Carl?
Put it up now? Sure.
Yeah. Are we at the point where we should take some things down? Maybe you want to bring us a list of recommendations. It's getting to be a good big web page, right?
Well, there's lots of stuff. I go through and prune out things as
great.
You know, I pruned out all the stuff about the annual meeting because it's over with.
Yep.
One thing that we might want to think about is how many years worth of minutes and agendas we want to keep access to.
It's always most recent on top. Yes? No?
Yes. But sooner or later, somebody's going to notice that maybe we have 2 years and everybody else has 1 year or whatever. So we should think about how long a period of back meetings we want to have accessible.
Okay.
But we all have all the paper copies and so forth. And
I do not.
No, but I have. I have copies of all the electronic copies of all the minutes that I can email to anybody, at least all the minutes that I took.
Okay, and minutes more than a month old, do they have the draft imprint watermark removed?
Yeah, I've been negligent about taking those out. I need to get rid of that from some of the old minutes.
I think anything more than a month old needs to have the watermark removed.
Not until it's been approved.
More than a month old. It's always been approved within the month.
Well, if it has.
Obviously, not the annual minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's up to you how you want to do it. But either we have to be exemplary about removing the draft watermarks, or we have to rely that people will see the notice that they should check the next month's meetings to make sure the minutes were approved. Okay.
I need to be more diligent about taking them out.
That'd be great. Items for next meeting. I have quite a number listed. What else would you like to consider? In June will be the setting of the tax rate, presuming that we can. And do we want to set a tentative date for that? Today is the 5th. What about the 19th?
For the next meeting?
Well, I won't guarantee you that we'll have the grand list.
Well, that's a point. Should we make it the 26th? That's the same week as the 30th. Would you like to just wait and call a special meeting when you hear from Mike Stack or Paul Noble or one of the other listers?
Well, are there other things that we need to,
I'll send around an agenda request once we have it, but if the point of the special meeting is to set the tax rate.
Well, this will be a special meeting anyway, right? Because
yes, any meeting that we hold outside of our regular warned formula is a special meeting, which requires only 24 hours notice.
I don't, I won't guarantee that we will have that information before the 29th of June, as far as that goes. I don't.
Okay. So let's wait, and I will contact you as soon as Charles or Carl will contact all of us and say we're ready to set that tax rate, and then we'll try and meet. This may seem a little weird, Kristen, but in the past, when we had a one item special meeting, we have had a special meeting remotely at 7 a.m. Just because, none of us had other things that we were doing, and it got it out of the way. But that will not be anything like tonight's meeting. Typically, it's, quick discussion. People come well prepared. You vote and report our event. Okay, so we'll wait on you, Carl.
Yeah, I will touch base too with the I can't remember her name, who prints the bills for us, and see if we don't get this until later, if she really absolutely has to have it by June 30th.
Well, as I said, I think our bills are the smallest.
Yeah.
Town of Rockingham, Village of Bellows Falls, they have a much larger list. So, okay, so I think her name is Pamela something.
Pam, thank you, Pam Willard.
Okay. No one has contacted me about the need for an executive session. Hearing none, I think we're ready for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
This meeting was recorded by Falls Area Community Television, located at 1 Hospital Court, Bellows Falls, Vermont. If you would like a copy of the meeting, our phone number is 802-463-1613, or email us at fact810@gmail.com. Falls Area Community TV, keeping government honest.